In 2008, the United States Congress passed amendments to a law called the Lacey Act. And many of you may have heard about the Lacey Act. It was the law that was used when the Gibson raid happened, suggesting that Gibson had sourced some illegal ebony in Madagascar. What the law says is that we as a wood user, so it's not just for guitar companies, it would be for anybody that uses wood products, that we're responsible to do due diligence to confirm that the wood that we're using in our products was legally harvested based on the laws of that country. So, for example, this guitar has a Honduran mahogany neck on it. I can't just buy from a broker that mahogany neck without finding out, according to the laws of Guatemala where this tree grew, was it harvested consistent within their laws, and was it transported, the paperwork to make sure that I know that this piece of wood is the wood that came from that source in Guatemala. At first, the guitar industry really reacted negatively to that, like it was government overreach. Why should I have to be accountable to know the laws of the country where the woods came from and to make sure that my woods were legally harvested? I believe, regardless of whether there was a law or not, that's what we should do. And candidly, the Taylor Guitar Company and the Martin Guitar Company agree with me that we all want to make sure that the forests that we're getting our wood from, we're doing it in a way that protects the sustainability of that forest and honors that forest. I mean, if we get the gift of the wood from that forest, the least we can do is to try to make sure that that forest is sustained and will live on and on and on forever. In Europe, they passed a similar law, but they went much farther than the Lacey Act. And in fact, instead of just tracking the wood back to confirm that it's been legally harvested, they require you to register the amount of wood that you purchased. And as you are consuming it in your shop, so as we're, for example, using the billets that we're building these necks out of, we have to track that down, and so that we could actually show them, this is how much we acquired, this is where we got it, and this is how much we used, and this is where we used it. So they have a stricter control standard. Part of what they put into their European law was that if you have a substance that has been put as a CITES 1, so it's a threatened species, like Brazilian rosewood, you in fact can't even bring that material into Europe unless it was in Europe before 1992. So let's say, for example, someone had some Brazilian rosewood in the United States, 1980. They had the paperwork to prove they had it in 1980. But it went from Brazil to United States. It was never in Europe. In 2016, you cannot ship that guitar to Europe because you have no documentation that that rosewood had been in Europe before 1992. In our case at Bedell and Breedlove Guitars, we acquired all of our Brazilian rosewood material from a company in Spain. And it had been in Spain since the 1950s and 1960s. We have the Spanish government actually giving us a warranty, verifying on documentation that they had confirmed that that wood had been in Spain since the 1950s and 1960s. And so in our case, we can build guitars in the United States, and those guitars are welcome to be shipped with the appropriate documentation, which we provide with every guitar we sell with Brazilian rosewood in it. It can go back to Europe. It can be resold in Europe. It can be shipped to Europe. Bands can take their instruments on tour to Europe. So we've got, I believe, the only stock of, well, I know the only large stock of Brazilian rosewood that literally can travel anywhere in the world. And so when you see on our copy on the Willcutt website or our websites, and it says tour certified, what that means is you can take it anywhere in the world.